Hi, I'm Xavier. I'm a lead biologist and diver here at the National Marine Aquarium, which is part of the Ocean Conservation Trust here in Plymouth. Here at the National Marine Aquarium, we've got a lot of tanks that we need to keep clean. We've got about 35 tanks front of house and over 55 tanks back of house. All of these tanks have to be cleaned on a regular basis. A lot of the tanks are smaller, so we can access them from the top. But for our 3 larger tanks, we actually have to get into the tanks to clean them. We have a special team of divers that get into the tanks 2 to 3 times a week, depending on the tank. Each member of the dive team will have a specific job. Sometimes it's cleaning the windows, sometimes it's siphoning the substrate, sometimes it's scrubbing rocks or the theming, sometimes it's feeding the animals on the dive. We all have our specific roles on the dive and we stick to that. So for example, in our Atlantic Ocean tank, we clean the windows, and that involves one person keeping the sharks away, while 2 other members of the dive team use special sucky pads to stick to the windows, and then that doodle bug brush in order to clean off any waste, any detritus, any anemones that have decided to stick themselves to the glass. For the substrate and the sediment at the bottom of the tank that we use to cover the bases of the tank, we use a siphon to clean that. So a siphon's like an underwater hoover. It sucks water out and it picks up all of the detritus, leftover waste and food, and then it takes it to our effluent system. In the effluent system, the water that we remove from the tanks is filtered and treated, and it comes out cleaner than we actually bring it in from the ocean. So we're able to recycle that water, makes this a more sustainable way of running an aquarium. For our small tanks, cleaning is done from the top of the tank. All of the tanks have access behind the scenes so that we can get in there and work on them. So we use the same sort of tools that we would use in our big tanks, obviously just smaller versions. Instead of big brushes, sometimes we'll use toothbrushes. Instead of deck brushes, sometimes we'll just use smaller kitchen brushes. We usually start with the siphon to remove any of the detritus, leftover food, fish waste, poo, and then we'll go over and give it a good scrub to make sure that anything that's stuck on the rocks or the theming is knocked off. And then often we'll do another siphon after that just to make sure all of that waste is removed so we can keep the water quality as good as possible. But I like to think of it like brushing your teeth. You've got to look for all the nooks and crannies because that's where all the dirt likes to settle and all the bacteria. So if you ever come around the aquarium first thing in the morning, just after opening, you may see a few hands and tools working around in the tanks. This is just us finishing our morning routine of cleaning our display tanks. And obviously on our dives, you'll be able to watch us cleaning all the tanks and fighting off turtles and sharks. No, we don't actually fight them. They're just inquisitive. They just want to say hello.